So they'll be calling you a radical. This should be a wake-up call for everybody in Utah. Well, it should have been a wake-up call for a long time ago in Utah. I'm going to send this to Governor Cox, who I've had multiple conversations on this campus with. I think it's pretty ornery. So Dean Cox, who is about as southern Utah as they can get. There's nobody more southern Utah than him. Everybody knows him. He's a famous dude down there. Everybody loves him. He got multiple myeloma a year ago. I've been following his case, talking to a lot of people, rooting for him, because that's the exact identical. He has the same disease that I had. I have AML de novo, which is a multiple myeloma. He has died yesterday. This should be a wake-up call for Spencer Cox, because Spencer Cox has got me fucking pissed. Spencer Cox, who's another southern Utah guy. I grew up there. Me and Brian Morse had this conversation. We talked on the phone for over a day today. He's the other AML de novo LDS, 1% survivor. We had an hour-long. I guess there's this woman he turned me on to who's got a vlog she's all over, that's been in LDS. I didn't know. He turned me on to her, and she survived with a transplant. But this is a very different disease. The AML that I have is a multiple myeloma. It's a de novo. The survival of it is nearly zero. Same with Brian. It's almost an unsurvivable disease. It's less than 1%. I didn't have a transplant because I couldn't. I was too sick, blah, 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 blah. So the multiple myeloma that killed Mr. Cox, 65. Healthy 65. This is not opinion. You know, I don't grandstand. I don't cherry pick. I'm an activist. I fight back against the fuckers that are killing our planet. I'm an activist. I'm not a vlogger with a quirky ass name. I use my real name, and I'm fighting for Mother Earth. This is hardcore, real subject matter that matters. My grandchildren matter to me. You know, the animals on this planet matter to me. The future matters to me. Even after I'm gone, I care. Look, Spencer Cox threw in bed with Bill Gates and Warren Buffett on small nuclear. The state of Utah has already been looted $300 million on these SMRs. I talked to Governor Herbert right here, standing right there. He lied to me. Told me he'd never let the nuclear waste in. I talked to Mitt Romney right there. Talked to Mike Lee. Mike Lee again. Mike Lee, my dad down. Mike Lee's dad died young of this disease. This is not opinion, because I lived in that bone marrow transplant center off and on for 5 years until I got kicked off Medicaid. This is important. I'm going to send this to Governor Cox's office. He needs to wake the fuck up. This is important. I spent 5 years in there. Well, you know this ugly path. I was too sick for a transplant. Chemo work, Mark valve, I had AirCM squared. It's a long, ugly path, my path. Chemo work, Mark valve accelerated. I had to have emergency open heart surgery. I got kicked off Medicaid. My gallbladder ruptured. It's been brutal. Brutal. Brian's came back after 9.5 years. He had a transplant. I don't know how he didn't die. I just talked to him. He's still suffering. He's still really fighting. He's lived through it. I don't know how that dude's alive. But anyway, on any given day, and this is what pisses me off. I remember when I was doing videos inside the bone marrow transplant, and the administration got all mad at me. This woman rings the bell, jumping around, and more power to her. And I'm glad she survived. She had a transplant and survived it, but I didn't know she had a YouTube site. And it's as quirky as it gets, but she's fought and she survived, and more power to her. But the activist Kevin Blanche, they used to fucking come up and tell me I couldn't shoot videos in there. Yet they'll shoot videos with her as long as she's not talking about the causation. And I'm very glad she survived. But here's the bottom line. When I was in that bone marrow transplant center, Marshall Jensen's in the room next to me. You Google his case. Marshall Jensen is the most famous leukemia case in the world. He's the first guy to get the HIV inject. KSL, all the media all over him, grandstanding him, the greatest, until he died. Nancy Peterson was in the room. The world-class triathletes in the room. The other side. Her and Marshall died the same day. Nancy, you do know that southern Utah is probably the most radioactive place on the face of the earth besides Fukushima, Japan. Yeah, I moved there to train. I didn't know that then. I know it now. It's very similar to Los Angeles, you know, radioactive, Santa Susana, but it's the most contaminated, and this is not opinion. Now stay with me. Scott Matheson from that region, our governor, he died of this exact disease. His wife recently just died in the bone marrow transplant. This exact disease. That's what people from southern Utah do. My dad died from. My dad was nuked in Nevada test. My niece's son, he's got acute blastoma. Make-A-Wish came out and gave him a horse recently. He's fighting. My grandson's little sister's fighting ALL. She's bald-headed. He's up there right now. On any given day, you can go at that incredible, incredible hospital, LDSE State, which is the greatest hospital in the world and the greatest leukemia unit on earth. Fimbo Peterson, the greatest oncologist ever, who saved my life. This is important. You go in there any given day. And again, if it was not Fimbo, I'd be dead. He saved me, him and Vincent. The survival rate of what I have is less than 1/10 of 1%. It's pretty well almost zero. I've made it almost 10 years. I never had a transplant. Too sick. I'm alive. Any given day, southern Utah, where Mr. Cox, Dean Cox, lived, the whole southern Utah makes up less than 5% of the Utah population, the region that bone marrow transplant center serves. On any given day, you can go in there. I don't care. You can go in there any given day. Well over 50% of the people in there fighting. And by the way, the vast, vast majority of people that go into that unit don't come out. Well, they come out in a body bag. These acute radicals, this should be a wake-up call to Spencer Cox. It's disgusting. He's from that region. Everybody knows. We all know. Nuclear. It's all nuclear fallout from the open-air tests in Nevada. Then you throw Fukushima onto it. It's a freaking, we're downwinders. We've been turned downwinders. You know, the whole place. You know, now the whole world is downwinders. How can Spencer Cox be pro-nuclear? These little SMRs, new scale from hell, which is so corrupt. I'm the one that exposed the corruption. Where's my whistleblower news? I'm the guy that shut down Senate from the bone marrow transplant. Me and Brian was just talking about it. You know, when Brian come in, Rob, the doctor's the one that snuck Brian in. They weren't supposed to. I was going in and out of a coma. And it was nurse, the Melanie, the CNA, that old nurse was like, Kevin, there's another guy. I mean, I was going in and out of a coma in there when Senator Offrey was cheating and it got leaked to me and I got it out. You know, Brian come in and sat with me. I don't think anybody thought I'd live, especially this long. I'm the whistleblower that freaking leaked all that stuff out, that got it out to the world on the cheating that Senator Offrey the show. There's whistleblower fees. I didn't get shit. I'm the guy that daggered Blue Castle in southern Utah. I remember Fimbo comes in my room and lay down the paper. Look at this. I'm in critical condition in a gown. I'm 119 pounds. 2 nurses took me over to the Capitol, me and the governor going at it, exposed all the lies. I'm the guy that dug in and found that NuScale, these little SMRs that have looted $300 million from Utah, had a funding called Kenwood Financial. First they have to have the private funding, then the government matches, which they went to jail for a Ponzi scheme. It was a fraud. The whole NuScale thing's a fraud. Where's the fucking FBI? Huh. I asked Governor Cox right there about the SMRs right before he became. He didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. Yet he says he's going to sign in with a little SMR, in fact, which we're already funding. They're testing 12 of them in Idaho National Lab. Utah's funding them. Why? Because we just had this conversation about the CIA. The CIA and the Nuclear Regulatory Committee, which is the DOE, you know, they started at the same time. They're the same people. When John Kennedy was killed, when Dulles stepped down as head of the CIA, who did they name? The head of the Nuclear Regulatory Committee. Who was the original one before this guy, who took over when Kennedy was killed, which is the CIA. Jeff Bezos' grandfather? Yep, look it up. Geis. Geis is the original head of the nuclear agency in this country. That's Jeff Bezos' grandfather. His biological grandfather. Not the Bay of Pigs, freaking Bezos, freaking. When Dallas, as crooked as he was, forced out John Kennedy. Names the new guy from the nuclear, the number 2 guy. That's who took over the CIA. The CIA and the nuclear industry are one of the same, which he obviously is bought into the Mormon church, which obviously, I mean, come on, Governor Cox. This isn't a wake-up call to you. He has the same name as you. He's from the same place as you. Multiple myeloma. This dude's one of the most loved people in this state. 65, perfectly healthy. He's dead. It blows my mind. USA Today has an article out about this. Not everybody's happy about it. Well, I sure the fuck ain't. You know, and I want to say this to anybody, and this woman who's got the vlog that I didn't know about turned on me. I mean, I'm more power to you. But, you know, let's show a little respect to the people that have passed away and died. Most people that are in that unit do not live. You know, it's a very spiritual, hallowed, fucking radical fight. Multiple myeloma is one motherfucker of a disease, is all I gotta say. I have AML de novo, which is a multiple myeloma, with a marker of 44. It's a vicious, too sick for a bone marrow. There's only 2 of us, me and Brian. I talked to Brian for over an hour today on the phone. He's like, I don't know how you do it. Yeah, me neither. I'm going to send this to Governor Cox. I asked him about the little SMRs right there right before because he didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. Yet, he's thrown in bed in Wyoming for Billy fucking Epstein fucking Gates. What the fuck is that fucking Billy? Warren Buffett, who's right there. There's pictures all over this campus of Warren Buffett with his arm around me. Why? Because we were the #1 school business when I taught there, when I graduated, when I saved the water school business. And R.C. Willie's, Bill Childs. I used to fly in Bill Childs' Learjet back to the Berkshire Hathaway. Buffett bought it in '99. Same year that we got the NBA program, Clyde Cooley died of mad cow. The water's cursed. So they gave the school a bunch of shares to buy the school. They wanted to develop a supply chain. I'm like, fuck you. No way. No way. They wanted to turn it into R.C. Willie's, Warren Buffett's slave-made furniture factory. And they wanted to source it through. We're the #1 school business in the United States, bar none. In fact, the second time that I graduated in '96, the first time I graduated on this campus in '78, a BIS, an honor student. The great Dr. Winters, you know, I was a biologist, art, finance. You know, it was pass-fail. I was an honor student. The second time I graduated here, we were the highest score ever given in the exit testing in an undergraduate program in the history of this country to this day. 96. The legendary finance professor Clyde Cooley. I graduated with Mikado, who's the heir to the Japanese Empire. There's only 17 of us. Highest score ever in the history of this country to this day. They hijacked our fucking school. Clyde Cooley got mad cow and died in '99. I took over the program. They fucking don't even give me. Kyle Madsen died of cancer. I mean, they're all dead. Supply chain, it's all Chinese slave-made oligarchy. Now, they rank dead last. They don't even top the top 5. How's that possible? Warren fucking Buffett, Bill Gates, and Governor Cox goes in with them. Wants to build a little nuclear fucking factory in fucking Wyoming. Just like, here's Utah, New Scale from Hell, which is the most corrupt company in the fuck. I asked Sean Reyes, our Attorney General, at the Bear River Massacre about this. He didn't know about it. I'm sure he does now. But he sure made a point. He turned around, because a lot of people were saying he was related to him. He sure turned around, came back, and said, Kevin, I want this to be perfectly clear. I am not related to him. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. You know, and he has Filipino descent. Sean, he should be, I mean, anybody in the Asian theater, Fukushima, Bikini Atolls, What does it matter with you people? John Huntsman right there. Well, this SMR that they're funding here in Utah, one blew up on the White Sea in Russia on 8/8/2019. I asked him right there. It's online. Yeah, Kevin, I'm the one that collected the data. Why aren't you screaming your head off? What, because he lost governor? I mean, this Governor Cox won with, what, 36% of the vote? I see Biden has named him to the head of the governor's thing. I'm sending this to Spencer. Spencer, as green as grass. He's dumber than a fucking stick from what I fucking see of him. Maybe he can turn this around. But the conversations I've had, I will quote Spencer Cox at the Bear River Massacre. I have it on video. I don't play I got you. Just like when Mike Lee, right there. Mike Lee's dad died of this exact disease. I prepped his aid before I went in. I don't play I got you. That's how they play me. Mike Lee kicked me off Medicaid. We were just talking this. When Brian, he says, when I got kicked out of the LDS, State Bone Marrow Transplant, I got booted out of there after 4.5 years of treatment because Mike Lee kicked me after I forked over $1 million. I got kicked out because I was off Medicaid. It almost cost me my life. Okay. I'm still fighting. I have no insurance. I have no safety. I have nothing. Well, we just found out my dad was a downwinder. I prepped his aid. Told him I'm going to be the first question up because Olene Walker, I grew up with Olene Walker. Yeah, that governor. Her mother was my second grade teacher. Her auntie was my first grade teacher. They grew up right around the T.O. Smiths. Why? Grew up right around the corner from me. I know her since I was a kid. Olene Walker Foundation put it up. They're like, Kevin, your first question. They knew my path. I prepped him. I didn't play I got you with him. I had his aide get him ready. Well, you know, I just found out my dad's a downwinder. How Mike Lee, Governor Herbert, John Huntsman, you know, Spencer Cox, all these people, we've had so much death. We know what the fucking downwinders is. Yet you're going to go in with these little, which not going to, we already have. $300 million just looted and stole from this fucking state. I was part of the initiative that got it through. It was for wind and solar. They looted it. New Scale from Hell, which Utah is funding, was funded by Kenwood Financial, which I'm the guy that exposed that was a fraud. Just like Lead Dog Financial on the Blue Castle on the Green. I used to chant inside there, in my gown, sucked up to nothing, 119 pounds of dying. Blue Castle on the Green, why not put up a statue on I-15 of Ted Bundy on I-15? Ted Bundy did a lot of his work on this campus, including my own cousin right over there. You can, Linda, I should get an interview. She's so beautiful still this day. So he pulled up right there. She says, tried to get me to get in the car with him. And she says, I almost did. So, what the fuck is the matter with you, Spencer? You're going in fucking nuclear. Are you really going to bow to this fucking CIA? I mean, I want to say this to the CIA, which is the new... People say, well, who killed Kennedy? The fucking... Of course the CIA. The CIA and the Nuclear Energy Crime Center are one and the same. Don't you see they're one in the... If the cover-up of Fukushima does not fucking prove to you who runs this country and who runs this world, these sick motherfuckers. The Mormon church is all... Abraham Hunsaker IV is my grandfather. Without Abe the First, there is no Mormon church. You're talking the great Mormon philanthropist. He was... My grandfather was a freaking socialist. I never inherited one dime. He required me to go to a state university. I was accepted at Berkeley. I was already there, ready to go. No, Kevin, you're going to your local college. A kid, no. You know, we don't do that. No bloodlines are. You're learning a trade. You're not. No. That's the old Mormons that used to be around here. What the fuck happened to them? Bowed on their... I knew David O. McKay personally. Fawn McKay Brody, right here on this university. They won't even mention her fucking name. She's the fucking first female history dean in the history of the country. Fuck her too. Fuck Kevin Blanche. So, hope you don't get cancer. And my heart goes out to Dean's family. Everybody that I've ever talked to has nothing but good things to say about that guy. Only the good die young. So he died of multiple myeloma. Dean Cox versus Spencer Cox. We're not opposites. We're on the same team. We're all Utahns here. We're all freaking... What the fuck are you doing funding nuclear fucking with that piece of shit fucking Bill fucking mass murder Eugenic Gates and Warren Sick Bubba, who stole the #1 school business in the United States right here via the testing? #1. Highest test to this day. Fuck. So I'm going to send this to Spencer's freaking office. Wake the fuck up, Spencer. You know, it's like I told an asshole here that got into it with me yesterday. Let me tell you, you're Indiana fucking ass. #1, I was here before you got here. I'll be here after you fucking leave. I'm born and fucking raised here. I'm from fucking this place. I've been on this campus since I was a little boy. I shook Bobby Kennedy's fucking hand right there in 1968, right before he was killed. 5 days before he gave the famous Martin Luther King speech. I knew Fawn McKay Brody personally. You know, all these people that died young of cancer. You think you're above it? Fucking Mitt Romney, he's had cancer. I asked him about Fukushima right there. Just changed the subject on me. What's the matter with you fucking people in Utah? By the way, the NBA Finals Game 2, Bucks Suns. Just remember this. Oh, Santa Susana, don't you cry for me. I came from California to Utah with a load of nuclear waste from San Onofre. Paul Westphal, Paul Westphal, Paul Westphal. Santa Susana, he was born and raised right there. What killed him in the prime of his life? Never forget Game 5, 1976, you sons. And I'll say this too, NBA tie. I know Donovan Mitchell personally. I know Damian Lillard. I used to do the play-by-play on this campus. Stay out of fucking Japan. Chris Paul says, I ain't going. He ain't that stupid. The Jazz passed on Chris Paul. They could have driven. They passed on him. Not a money issue, nothing. They just says, nope, he ain't good enough. For Darren Williams. Of course, they passed on Tony Parker. They've done a lot of dumb shit over the years. You know, remember 2 years ago when those fans were up in those freaking racist, going racist rants to Chris Paul and his brother when he played for the Rockets? Remember that? What is the matter with you fucking people here in Utah? Come on, Governor Cox, you're fucking better than this. You're really going to be a pro-fucking nuclear after all these years. All these years of great anti-nukers in the state of Utah. In the name of the great, great, great Scott Matheson. Loved that guy. I knew him personally really well. Olin Walker. All these great anti-nukers in the state. You're down to Kevin Blanche. Last of the fucking Mohicans. You should be ashamed of yourself, Spencer. San Antonio.